Now, before we get into everything, as per usual, it's a long episode, so if you want to get to rate what you... Jesus. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of DeepSeededGeek. Thank you very much for tuning in, and as you may notice, this is again a very long episode, so if you want to jump to the section that you want to see the most first, down in the show description, there's little timelines. You can click on those. It'll take you right to the section you want to see, be it the gaming news, what I'm playing, or my comments of the week. So, without further ado, let's get right into the gaming news of the week. So the first thing I found out this week is that the Game Developers Conference award nominees are up for everyone to check out. And I kind of like these awards more so than the Spike VGAs or the different websites, individual ones, because these ones kind of focus in on not so much what sold the most revenue for games or anything like that, but really what particular avenues of the game industry really shone brightly this year. So they break it down into many different kind of categories, subcategories and all that kind of stuff, and really focus on the people behind the scenes of the games. So if you want to check out some of the nominees, there's a lot of familiar titles going on, and some you may not have heard of that you might want to check out before they announce their winners this year. So go find that. Next up is a little article that came out called The Future of Video Game Storytelling. It's a really great article over on IGN that talks with a bunch of people that are really in the spotlight this year for bringing storytelling to the forefront of video games. So they do a little bit of Q&A, what they think, basically what we do on DeepSeededGeek, which is to kind of discuss like things like where they are now, how they kind of contributed to it, and where they see it going in the future. So go give that a read if you really dig your storylines in gaming like I do. Next up, much to everybody's big surprise, there's some SimCity news. Yes, that's right, the big online, always, game that kind of flopped last year. They turned out some news to us that said that they're accepting mods to be applied to SimCity now, which is kind of weird because it seemed like that game was kind of restrictive and it's like, no, nobody can touch our baby. And now the mod community is able to go in and tweak around with it and kind of share with the rest of us. Now that's a nice first step, but you know what, it would have been great if they made it offline capable. Lo and behold, they did! Finally, after almost a year of being in release, they finally release a patch that's going to be coming out real soon that will create SimCity to be offline, something they said is impossible to do, because every facet of SimCity is related to being always online content. Everyone wants to jump on the bandwagon, including myself at first, to say, you know what, aha, we knew it! You lied to us! But in matter of fact, I believe, yeah, they probably did tweak everything to be online only. And it took all this time to reverse all that, technically. Now, I get why they did it, because there was such a huge backlash against the game, and there were a number of problems relating to the online functionality of SimCity. But the fact that they've reversed it, I think a lot of people who stayed, like myself, I stayed away from it for a very, very long time until they got their problem solved, which may or maybe didn't happen. And a lot of people stayed away from it altogether until there was an offline mode or the next iteration where there was no online requirement. Well, now that's here. Maybe there will be a resurgence of SimCity, especially with the mod community kind of thing behind it. So keep your radar on lock to SimCity. You might hear some big news from a bunch of gamers on YouTube and the like, and I might dive into it. So we shall wait and see. A last little bit, another article that you guys can check out is a cute little title. When did you become a grown-up gamer? I found this on IGN. IGN's been cracking out some pretty good articles lately. Again, it's just a fun little article. If you want to get into that kind of thing, check it out. It's kind of discussing some of the things like we've talked about on DeepSeededGeek before, where it's like, what game was the turning point for you into like the gamer you are today? So if you like that kind of stuff and seeing how people kind of viewed their breaking point for being a gamer, check it out. And why not? Let me know in the comments section, what game was it for you that turned you into a gamer instead of just a casual kind of acquaintance with this thing called video games. But enough about that, let's get on to what I've been playing this week. So this game, I've only been playing 2 games, one of which I've talked about before, Fire Emblem Awakening. I'm still loving the hell out of this game, and not much has changed, but I am a finicky kind of guy when it comes to stats and all that kind of stuff. So I'm doing all these like little side missions and little enemy quests to kind of boost all my stats so I can like max everybody out. So when the end boss comes, I just give him a royal spanking, whoever he is. But the game itself, now, I'm about to get into something that might be a little spoiler-ish. So if you've played the game and you're not even at the halfway point, maybe skip this about 5 minutes into the video. For everybody else, you have been warned. I just got to the point in the game where the children are being introduced. Now, you've heard me talk about how this is a really cool game where you can build development, relationship developments between any of the characters in the game, male and female characters. They didn't allow for homosexual relationships for whatever reason. I thought that would be really cool, but I digress. But it's kind of funny because like halfway into the game, you see these kids pop up, and they're the children, the offspring of the characters that you combined to like have a relationship and everything and get married and all that. So it's really cool to see like what the breeds kind of brought out. You know, it sounds really horrible the way I say that, but it is kind of cool to see your offspring and how they communicate with your choices of parents for those kids. It's really neat. I didn't expect that, and now it's putting this whole kind of time travel twist on it. It's like a Doctor Who Fire Emblem kind of deal, you know, where, oh my god, we're meeting our kids for the first time. It's like Back to the Future, and oh, it's Marty, and we're fading in the picture, and blah blah blah. But it is kind of cool. So that's at the halfway point of this game, and now I'm just going to be beating the storyline as much as I can because my stats are through the roof on all my characters. It's awesome. But other than that, the only other game I played was maybe for 3 hours yesterday, and it's a little game called The Elder Scrolls Online. I got to be a beta tester. Now, I can't get into storyline details or anything like that. I will not even show you screenshots or video images of the video of the game because they strictly said you can't do that. They did it kind of smart. So if anybody does put up beta test footage, they have your actual username that you signed on to test the whole thing with. Like, it's like a watermark behind all the video game footage. So that was kind of smart. If anything, I thought that was a brilliant part of the gameplay as well. But the only thing I will tell you about the Elder Scrolls Online beta were my concerns and if they were put to rest or not. So my concerns was that it's Elder Scrolls as an MMO. Most of the MMOs I've come across, World of Warcraft being one of them that I've just viewed from a distance. I've never really played it. But the one I played was the Old Republic, Star Wars The Old Republic. And from both of those visually, I kind of feared that the quality and the craftsmanship of Elder Scrolls visually would be pulled back in order to be a MMO style of game. Couldn't be further from the truth. The biggest thing I was excited to check out was the character creation tools, because in Elder Scrolls Fallout, they are impeccable. You can do every little nuance of your character can be changed. It's the same in Elder Scrolls Online. I mean, they pretty much took the Skyrim creator kit and just put it right there. It's unbelievably gorgeous. And then the gameplay itself. Visually, the world looks like it is Skyrim. It's not where you start off, but I'm just saying, it looks like that kind of quality. The one beef I have is kind of in keeping with MMO fights, where you'll see like 2 characters on a screen, and one will just swing in the air, and apparently that's hitting the guy. I think that is so weak, man. I get why it has to be done that way, but it just pulls me out of the immersion. So does the Elder Scrolls Online kind of compete with that? Yes and no. If you're in first-person view, you can see you're swinging at the guy, he's right in front of you. He doesn't react to his connections like he would in something like Skyrim, but it feels a little more interactive with the actual characters on the screen. So I'll say that much. Other than that, man, I opened chests. I looked for little loot kind of packs all over the place. The world felt real and tangible. I didn't get to communicate with anybody within the game because I stopped the storyline at a certain point where it would take me to the actual open world part. So I didn't get to do any of that. But from everybody I talked to in my circle of friends that did get into the beta as well, they said that, yes, it is just as beautiful as you would expect an Elder Scrolls game to be outside of the world. And there are so many little things that they were talking about that they got to do that just has me salivating at all the things you'll be able to do in the final product. And this is still in beta. It's gorgeous. It plays like an Elder Scrolls game. It's as detailed as anything you would want it to be in an Elder Scrolls game. And it's still in beta. I can't wait to see the final product. The last little thing, which is kind of cool to me, you can probably do this in other MMOs. It's just not been my experience from what I've seen of them. But the nameplates that go above people's heads, those don't exist. I love that because nothing pulls me out of an immersed world than that thing saying like, sucks balls really hard, 49er, I don't know. That would just completely ruin all of Elder Scrolls for me if I had to look at that kind of stuff all the time. But apparently that's not there. Whether that stays in the final product, whether it'll be a settings option, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. The other thing I have my fingers crossed with, I don't know if it's possible, but I hope, is that this Elder Scrolls game will also be taking a page out of Skyrim's book and being Steam Workshop compatible. Because I would love to see skins or just resolution kind of things or dynamic lighting effects, all these little things that I could apply onto my Skyrim game experience that just enhanced it, made it more realistic, made it cool where you could bring in like outside weapons. Like I had dual lightsabers, Captain America's shield, I had Thor's hammer, there was a Death Star in the sky when I played Skyrim. It was unbelievably badass, and I dressed like Batman or like Moon Knight, depending on how I felt, So it was an ultimate experience just to be able to kind of create my own kind of world in that game. So if Elder Scrolls Online will have that kind of access as well to the modding community, that would be amazeballs, and this game will just blow everybody out of the water. So what I can say right now, from my experience, if anyone had any kind of concerns with the quality aspect of the Elder Scrolls Online, put it to rest. It's just like you would want the next Elder Scrolls to be, and you get to play with all your friends online. I don't see how this can't be a home run for this team. It's just amazing. So there you go. Those are the two games I've been playing. And I got a bunch of 3DS and DS games in the mail. So I am just set for like the next few weeks or even the month for my video gaming goodness. I think the next thing, as soon as I'm done Fire Emblem, I might be playing a little game called The Ocarina of Time by, Legend of Zelda fame, But I will keep you updated on that in next episode. For now, let's go on to the main discussion of the week. Now, the topic I want to talk with you guys about this week is something that is always constantly on my brain, and I imagine that all of you have thought of this as well. Now, to paint a picture, this is when I think of this. I'm a massage therapist, as many of you know, and when I'm working on my clients, my brain tends to wander because I've done massage for so long now that I could practically and literally do it in my sleep. I found that out not too long ago. I can tell you that story another time. But anyway, as I'm working on my clients, rubbing their back and everything, getting the knots out, my brain tends to wander. And where it usually wanders to is this one big question that I think everybody should ask themselves at one point in their lives. And that question is, what superpower do you wish to have? Simple question, but it plagues my mind and it bounces all around all the time, okay? Now, that'll also lead to questions of, would you use your powers for good or would you use them for evil? I like to think based on all my characters that I've played in video games, and when it's given you the choice to be bad or good, I am usually the lawfully good guy, okay? Mass Effect, I am Paragon all the way, baby, okay? So with that in mind, it's no doubt that I would use my powers for good. But what powers would I want? I don't want to be a Wolverine character. As cool as it is to have adamantium bones and a healing factor, he's kind of a psycho murderer, you know, so that's not really my bag. As cool as he is, he can go do his little murdering on his own. Do I want to be Superman? That's a bit of an overkill, you know, and if you take on the responsibility of protecting a planet because you have all this, like, interstellar power kind of stuff, you'll probably end up saving the entire galaxy. I don't have enough time in my day to do that. So I'd say, as much as I dig Superman and as much as the reboot sucks right now, I'll leave him alone for now. That's like the ultimate thing, you know? But if I was to keep it in my own kind of reality, which I tend to like, you know, any kind of superhero where he's reality based, you know, I appeal to those guys more so than the almighty gods. You know, I can't relate to Thor, okay? I can't relate to Superman that much. You know, I can't even relate to Batman, and he's just a guy with a bunch of toys, okay? But if I had my choice, my ideal superhero power set would be one character. Luke Cage. Not because I want to be black. I'm very happy being a white dude. That's fine. But he has the best superhero powers and, in my opinion, the best attitude of a superhero. Okay? Check it out. So, if you don't know who Luke Cage is, you will soon, because Marvel is making a miniseries all for this guy, and I can't wait for it. But anyway, Luke Cage is pretty much called the hero for hire. Pretty much people anywhere can hire his services to avenge them in some respect. Okay? His powers are that he is super strong, like somewhere between... Who's a strong guy? He's somewhere between Hulk and Colossus of the X-Men. Okay, hopefully you guys know who Colossus and the Hulk are, okay? Because he's in between that power set, okay? So he's a definitely strong dude, okay? On top of that, he has unbreakable skin, okay? Now, I had some boys over last night, and we got talking about what exactly is unbreakable skin. Now, some people thought it was just like, you know, a layer, like a shield, kind of invisible shield over top of his skin that was impenetrable, but we kind of narrowed it down to like, no, it wouldn't just be his skin or his epidermis, you know, which is that thin layer that you kind of peel off like when you're having dry skin, like I kind of do sometimes. But anyway, we decided that impenetrable skin or unbreakable skin is the whole meaty kind of thing, okay? His muscle fiber, his tissue, his blood, his viscera is all so dense that it is impenetrable. So through and through, he is invulnerable, okay? To heat, to bullets, to like explosions, to knives, to anything, okay? You spitballs, you know, he'll resist it. So he is unbelievably strong and invulnerable, okay? Now, here's one thing I don't think a lot of people realize, is that if you are super strong, you can leap tall buildings in a single bound, okay? You can run as fast as the frickin' Flash. Why? Because your legs are unbelievably strong. So as far as you can punch a dude out of the stratosphere, that's how fast you can run too, okay? So yeah, I think that is incredible, okay? That is a power set. You're golden, okay? Everything else like heat beams and all that, who cares? You can't hurt me, okay? Now, on top of that, he has got a great just mindset, okay? If you've ever read the New Avengers, he actually became the leader, okay, of the New Avengers. He took over the place of Captain America himself, of leading the Avengers, all right? Now, that tells you that he's got a good head on his shoulders. But aside from that, there was one story arc in particular where the Avengers, including Captain America, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Wolverine, Luke Cage, Jessica Drew, and Jessica Jones wasn't on the team at that point. But it was a whole bunch of like just super powered people, okay? The elite of super teams. And he came up with this idea to just go down to Harlem, stand on the street, and make all the criminals aware that they are watching, okay? That kind of stuff is badass. It brings it down to the street level. So yeah, you could go off and you could fight like the huge, like robotic thing that's tearing apart New York City, but you want to make sure that the little man, the everyday man, that's what I was trying to say in the first place, he knows that you've got his back too. That's the heart of gold. That's the heart of a hero right there. Now, Luke Cage is my hero. Who would be the best villain? Here you go. I think Electro is the most untapped potential for a supervillain in the history of supervillains, okay? Now, keep in mind, I kind of dropped off of Amazing Spider-Man around the 650 issue mark, okay? So I don't exactly know what has been happening with Electro, if anything, in the Spider-Man books. But from what I've read throughout all my history with Spider-Man, which is a lot, okay? Electro has always been the guy where he's throwing like arcs of lightning and everything like that, and he's manipulating electric boxes throughout the city, you know, that kind of thing. That has been Electro's power stat forever, as far as I know. But I mean, if he brought it down to small scale, he wouldn't even have to be a villain. He would be like a fart in the wind, okay? He could just go up to any ATMs and just static shock, there's all the money. Next ATM, static shock, there's all the money. He would never even get caught because his little static shock could take out all the cameras as well. Now, that's just the basic electronic thing that we kind of know. Expand that. Everything we do nowadays is done with electricity. With a snap of his fingers, he could turn off the world if he had the power base, okay? He could at least turn off like an entire city block, okay? But if you're powerful enough to do that, how powerful would this guy be if he turned his knowledge from the technical kind of side that we know that are lighting these lights and using this camera, if he turned it to the biological side, okay? What if he had the power to manipulate the neurons and synapses throughout the brain? So say Spider-Man's coming in for a punch. Well, he gives Spider-Man a little jolt in his arm that causes him to seize up and he can't use that arm anymore. Or if he just turns off the nerve supply altogether, dead arm, okay? What if he controlled his heart, so he sped up Spider-Man's heart to almost give him a heart attack, or stopped it altogether? What if he just turned off his brain, okay? He is the most deadly guy that has untapped potential, okay? He would be my nemesis to mess with, okay? I don't think Luke Cage could beat him if he knew how to do all that kind of stuff. But that is just my opinion, okay? So, if I was a hero, I would be Luke Cage. And I would be pissing my pants if Electro ever figured out how to do his powers the right way. So with that, I want to hear from you guys. What is the superpower you wish to God you had? Leave it in the comments section below. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are bringing a close to another episode of Deep Seeded Geek. I want to thank each and every one of you for showing up. And as a little bit of an announcement, as always, we are doing another live version of DeepSeededGeek. We're going to do a Google Hangout, yes, on January 26th, 5 p.m. That's a Sunday, so mark it in your calendar. If you want to be on the show and participate, send me a message on YouTube there. We'll see if we can get you into the show itself. If you want to just hang out, watch the show, leave comments and all that kind of stuff, feel free. I would love to hear from you guys. And with that, I'll say goodbye for now. Like, favorite, share, you know what to do. Subscribe as always if you haven't, and we will see you next week on Deep Seeded Geek. Take care, everybody.